as we near the one-year anniversary of the Russian invasion. Meantime, says ABC's Inez de la Quatera, who's also there.
China is now out with a new statement after the Biden administration accused Beijing of considering sending military aid to Russia. China's foreign minister saying we urge certain countries to stop fueling the fire.
Russian President Vladimir Putin in a speech of his own announcing that Russia is suspending its participation in the new START treaty, the last remaining nuclear arms control pact with the United States. For the second time in less than a week, the head of the EPA is on the way to East Palestine, Ohio, to respond to the train derailment and chemical explosion there earlier this month. ABC's Zim Nguyen has the railroad's reaction.
The train company Norfolk Southern is now handing out money to those affected. People living in certain zip codes could get a $1,000 check for derailment-related expenses. It comes with Norfolk Southern's finances now in the spotlight. The company posting an operating income of $4.8 billion last year. And it reportedly paid shareholders $18 billion in stock buybacks and dividends in the last 5 years, all while reducing its workforce.
At the U.S. Supreme Court today, the family of an American student killed in the 2015 terror attacks in Paris is suing Google, claiming its algorithms highlighted ISIS-produced materials. ABC's Devin Dwyer covers the Supreme Court.
This is a huge deal for any American who thinks they've been harmed by social media use or a website and internet service. Those companies have been protected, really blanket sweeping immunity by Section 230 of the Federal Communications Decency Act.
That 1996 act says internet companies cannot be sued over third-party content on their sites. Some legal experts say those companies do hold some responsibility. You're listening to ABC News.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding.
What?
Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woo-hoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Another strong earthquake along the Turkey-Syria border just a couple of weeks after the quake that killed nearly 47,000 people. This earthquake, magnitude 6.4, blamed for at least 6 more deaths and hundreds of injuries. Mardi Gras marred by deadly violence in New Orleans this year.
The Crew of Bacchus Parade is one of the best attended of the many carnival celebrations. Just off the parade route on Sunday, the sound of gunshots was captured on security video. New Orleans Interim Police Superintendent Michelle Woodfork says 5 people, including a 4-year-old, were wounded.
Unfortunately, a male between the ages of 15 and 18 years old expired.
She says a 21-year-old has been charged with second-degree murder as investigators look for a motive. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
It has been 20 years since fire roared through a nightclub in West Warwick, Rhode Island, killing 100 people. Gina Russo leads the foundation that helped set up a memorial to those killed at the Station nightclub. She spoke at a service last night.
I'm so grateful to have been able to give back to the 100, to be a part of giving back to the 100, and also surviving it.
She did survive the fire, but her fiancé was killed in it. Under recall right now, baby formula from the company that makes Enfamil. It is recalling 2 batches of its pro-sorbet plant-based formula, about 145,000 cans. There are fears they could be contaminated with bacteria. This is ABC News.
Remember the last time your family visited the forest? It's a place of wonder and imagination for the whole family, where stories come to life. And it's closer than you think. Ready to plan your next visit? Make the forest part of your story today at a local park near you, or find one at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Does that old tractor or lawnmower have more electrical tape or duct tape holding it together than you want to admit? Well, maybe it's time to see Phil Sheehan and his staff at NC Tractor for a new Massey Ferguson tractor or mower. Massey Ferguson is a company that's been around for over 175 years. That says a lot about a company. And paired with Phil Sheehan, who's been in business for over 25 years, that says a lot about his Phil and his staff. Knowledgeable about their product, and they stand behind every sale. Massey Ferguson is the last tractor you'll ever need. NC Tractor, a dependable and reliable company that'll be there after the sale. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford.
A few early sprinkles will continue to clear out of here. Today is going to be a very warm day with near record highs in the upper 60s and lower 70s. We have winds moving in out of the southwest and west that will gust upwards of 30 miles per hour. Because of low humidity, that could lead to an increased fire danger for today. Tomorrow, highs will be in the low to upper 70s. We could tie or shatter some record highs. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Thanks so much. Right now we have 52 degrees. We started there and still there and expected to climb up to near 72 degrees today, folks, right here in our good little old county. 72 degrees for the daytime high. That's summer-like weather, right? But the fear factor here is the wind gust. It's 27 miles per hour. So if you've got anything that needs to be tied down, you better tie it down because it's going to blow strong today. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 51 and light wind. Tomorrow, we go back up to wind gust as high as 26 miles per hour tomorrow. And then mild wind tomorrow night, 15 miles per hour. That's still pretty strong, 15 miles per hour. Thursday, partly cloudy with a high near 82. 82. I said 82 for Thursday. That's summer-like weather. You going to the beach, anybody? Hold your hand up. Yep. It's windy with a south-southwest wind, 13 to 22 miles per hour, with wind gusts as high as 32 miles per hour. So the factor this week is going to be wind, and it's not even March yet. Thursday night, mostly clear with a low around 55, with wind gusts as high as 18 miles per hour. Level settles down a little bit by Friday. Friday night, mostly cloudy with rain showers and lows around 44. Then Saturday, we have more showers expected with highs near 50 on Saturday with a 30% chance of rain. Sunday, partly cloudy with scattered showers and a high near 66. Chance of precip is 40%. Next Monday, rain showers. So we have rain in the forecast Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, and then again on Monday. But the wind is going to be the deal. So watch out for the wind factors today and for the next couple of days. And again, right now, it's 52 degrees. Bill O'Reilly Morning Update coming up here in just a few moments. We'll do the death announcements following that. Couple of items just to call your attention to. The Daily Courier is reporting about the East Rutherford Lady Cavaliers defeated the Hendersonville Bearcats 57-50 Friday night, February the 17th, to become the Mountain Foothills 7 Conference Tournament champions. Way to go, East Rutherford Lady Cavaliers. We're proud of you. Got the picture there on the page there of the Daily Courier. So they've done well for the season. Several Rutherford County schools students were selected to become members of the Western North Carolina All-District Honor Band. The band is comprised of top student musicians in the Western region. Students auditioned to be part of the band by performing a prepared solo, major scales, and sight reading. Students who were accepted into the band traveled to Western Carolina University for a weekend in February to work with the nationally known clinician and perform a concert. Well, Chase Middle School students were part of the honor band this year as Jehu Hurako and Jacob West and Matthew Wilson and Alexa Arredondo and Jonah Ezel. And then from R.S. Central High School were Diego Niera and Will Harper. Michael Henderson, director of the bands and vocal music at Chase Middle School, said he was so proud of these students. For Chase Middle School, these are first students who have represented the school at the district level in 7 years. Ryan Kisner is also band director at Chase Middle School. Luke Sapperfield is the band director at R.S. Central High School. They deserve a round of applause for that honor. Doing very well. 7:09 here on WCAB. Our next Tar Heel game is Wednesday. Be Notre Dame and UNC. They've not done very well recently. Lost to NC State on Sunday, 77-69. And they lost to Miami on last Monday. So we'll see if they can pull it together for Notre Dame coming up on Wednesday night. We'll have all that action for you Right now, here's Bill O'Reilly Morning Update coming down from our networks.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you are a timeshare owner, you're probably upset that your yearly dues continue to increase. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and done in a specific time frame. They're the only company you can trust, having helped more than 18,000 owners legally and permanently get out. So please call Lone Star Transfer 855-551-7066 or visit LoneStarTransfer.com. On this Tuesday, the billion-dollar lawsuit the Dominion Voting Machine Company has filed against Fox News is far more complicated than the corporate media has reported. Last week, Dominion put out its allegations in a damning form, but always remember, accusations must be cross-examined to have any validity. The press pretty much ignores that. The case hinges on fallacious opinions that said the presidential election of 2020 was fraudulent. Are those opinions defamatory? That's a high standard for the media, which embraced the phony Russian collusion situation and then ran wild with the theory that President Trump directly caused the crimes on January 6, 2021. In both cases, most of the corporate media wrote and broadcast opinions that lacked evidence and finally were proved to be wrong. Donald Trump was badly damaged by the misreporting, but he would lose if he sued because he could not prove actual malice, a legal standard. The Fox News defense is similar. It puts forth that it broadcasts false opinions because that's what its audience wanted to hear. It's not about malice, FNC lawyers say. It's about free expression, even if it's not based on facts. The trial is set to begin in April, but Fox News has already lost in the court of public opinion because it did not operate in an honest way. Back after this. No question, there is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits and all kinds of great content. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
7:13 on this terrific Tuesday morning. I have these death announcements. Colleen Biggerstaff died February the 19th at the age of 96. Funeral arrangements are incomplete and will be announced by the Paget and King Mortuary. We do have this much information. Friday, February 24th, 2 o'clock, the services will be rendered at Oak Grove United Methodist Church. Burial in the Oak Grove Cemetery. Family will receive friends in the fellowship hall following the service. Paget and King Mortuary is serving the family of Colleen Biggerstaff. James Haynes. Green Hill James Haynes has passed away. Those arrangements are incomplete at this time and will be announced later by Mike Mahan's funeral home. James Haynes. Joshua Aaron Lowing passed away February the 14th. No services are planned at this time, and Eggers Funeral Home at Cliffside is serving the family of Joshua Aaron Lowing. Mary Carolyn Hensley Allen, age 74, of Rutherfordton, died Saturday, February the 18th at Wendover Hospice in Shelby. The family will receive friends from 3 until 5 Wednesday, February the 22nd at Pleasant Hill Baptist Church. The funeral service will be at Pleasant Hill Baptist Church at 5 o'clock Wednesday, February 22nd. Burial will follow in Pleasant Hill Baptist Church Cemetery. Mike Mahan's funeral home and cremation services in charge of the arrangements for Mary Carolyn Hensley Allen. Mark Gunter passed away Friday, February the 17th. Visitation will be Saturday, February the 25th, 1 until 2:45 at Southern Baptist Church, Rutherfordton. And the service will be held Saturday, February the 25th at 3 o'clock at Southern Baptist Church in Rutherfordton. And Crow's Mortuary is serving the family of Mark Gunter. Joseph Horace Alley, age 71 of Rutherfordton, passed away Wednesday, February the 15th at Hospice House of the Carolina Foothills. Receiving of friends will be from 1 to 3 Saturday, February the 25th at Mike Mahan's Funeral Home. The memorial service will be at Mike Mahan's Funeral Home Chapel at 3 o'clock Saturday, February the 25th. Mike Mahan's Funeral Home and Cremation Services in charge of the arrangements for Joseph Horace Alley, age 71. Lois George Battaglia Jr., age 77 of Forest City, died Saturday, February the 18th at Hospice House of the Carolina Foothills in Forest City. At the request of the family, no formal services will be planned, and the Pageant and King Mortuary and Crematory is serving the family of Louis George Battaglia Jr. of Forest City. Those are the death announcements we have in-house this morning. For the complete information on these and others as they become available to us, we'll have those this morning at 11:30, and then again at 5:10 as part of the afternoon call around the newscast. It's 7:16.
The year was 1886. Gold mining was taking place in Arizona. Some was being done in the Bradshaw Mountains, located between Prescott and Wickenburg, Arizona. With gold being mined in this area, some New York entrepreneurs decided that there was more gold in the pockets of investors than in the ground. So they decided to put together a mining operation and sell stock in the company. In order to provide water for the downstream sluicing operation, they built a dam on the Hassasumpa River. They weren't interested in the structure integrity of the dam as long as it was impressive. The dam wasn't founded on bedrock, and during construction, its height was increased from 60 feet to 110 feet. A 900-acre lake formed behind the dam. Within 2 years of its construction, heavy rain started threatening the dam. Then on February 18, 1890, the water behind the dam started rising 18 inches an hour. Dynamite was used to enlarge the spillway, but whatever they did, the level of the water kept rising. At 2 a.m. on February 22, the dam broke, and a 100-foot-high wall of water came down the canyon. A wall of water roared through Wickenburg, Arizona, and 12 miles below Wickenburg, the town of Seymour was wiped out. Although it's not known exactly how many people were lost that day, close to 100 bodies were found. It's interesting to note that at least 2 businesses report that thousands of dollars worth of gold coins were lost. And according to all records, these coins are still buried somewhere in the Hassasumpa River. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
Listening to the radio, driving in your car. Radio gets results. Radio is there no matter where you are. Radio gets results. When you need to get your message through, people really do listen to you. Coming through loud and clear, no matter what you're telling, no matter what you're selling, everyone will hear. Radio gets results. Radio gets results. Radio gets results. Radio gets results.
We are 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB, Rutherfordton.
Indeed it does. 19 now past 7 o'clock, and we're going to the phones and find out what's been going on around the county the past 24 hours or more. And Lieutenant Lowry is with us from the Sheriff's Department to give us that news. Lieutenant Lowry, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Hope you're doing well. I tell you, I can't believe it's summer-like weather. Can you?
I know. Wait till Thursday.
I know it. What's on the report?
In the past 24 hours, Sheriff's Office has received 152 calls. The jail processed 17 arrests, and we currently have 181 in the jail. For incidents reports, we have Reed's Mini Storage in Forest City reported an incident of breaking and entering. Heather Baisden of Ballstick reported an incident of assault on a female. Stephen Landry of Rutherford reported an incident of breaking and entering. Harris First Baptist in Forest City reported an incident of felony larceny. And then for arrest reports, we have Henry Allen of Forest City charged with simulation of court process. Robert Eason of Forest City charged with failure to appear on misdemeanor. Shanna Perpetua of Mooresboro charged with failure to appear on misdemeanor. David Hollifield of Rutherford charged with breaking and entering. Justin Harris of Grover charged with failure to appear on misdemeanor. Whitney McSwain of Union Mills charged with 2 counts of true bill of indictment and 1 count of failure to appear on misdemeanor. Therese Watkins of Spindale charged with simulation of court process. Robert Ash of Ballstick charged with assault on female. Caitlin Smith, address listed as homeless. Arrested for failure to appear on criminal summons or citation. And that's it.
Lieutenant Lowry, thank you very much, and you be safe out there today.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
See you now. And we'll check with 911, see what calls they've had in the past 24 right after this.
Cheryl, I've been talking to Tommy and David, the outside salesmen at Henson Building Materials in Forest City. They're going to help us navigate through our remodeling project.
Well, I know they have tons of experience, so we'll be in good hands.
Good hands is right. Even professional builders shop there because they trust the quality products and service.
And did you know they have a great relationship with our community, too? Oh, they're so nice.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
And here's Jenny with the 911 Communication Center. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's on the report from the past 24 hours?
In the past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Communications has responded to 313 911 calls and administrative calls. This included 44 EMS calls, 152 for the Sheriff's Office, 58 for Forest City, 5 for Lake Lure, 32 for Rutherford, and 24 for Spindale, and that's for law enforcement. And then our fire calls, we had Cliffside respond to a motor vehicle accident. Ellenburg responded to 2 motor vehicle accidents, and Forest City had a structure fire. And that's all.
Thanks so much. I hope you have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
Let's check on the SDO Fire District. Ruby Taylor's on the phone to tell us all that news. Good morning.
Good morning.
What's happening over at SDO?
It's quiet, and on my birthday counter, I've got Tony Harris and Christina Sheehan having birthdays today. Hope they have a nice day, and the signs are in the feet today and going to the head tomorrow. Jim, that's all I got.
Ruby, you have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
Checking it down with Chris Melton, Chimney Rock, Lake Lure, and Bills Creek Community Fire Departments. Chris, how are you doing this morning?
Good, Jim. How are you?
Good. Are you ready for summertime?
I sure am. It feels like it out there.
It does. You'll have to get your bathing suit on and jump into the lake. Is it full? Is it up yet?
Not yet. It'll be towards the end of March.
Okay.
It will start filling back up. Still doing those repairs on the dam.
What's going on up there? Anything?
Nothing to report today. We've had no calls yesterday, and it was a good day. Just real pretty weather we've had just the past few days.
Yeah.
It'll be breezy today, though, but I think still warm temperatures.
Yeah. Been cautioning folks to be aware of, with the breezy conditions, not to be setting in fires and burning into trash dumps because it could get out of hand with that wind.
Absolutely, yeah. Supposed to have some good gusts today.
Yeah. All right, Chris, thank you so very much for keeping an eye on things for us, and we'll check back in with you tomorrow. You have a safe day up there.
Absolutely. I'll have a blessed day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Wayne's Lunchbox can satisfy the pickiest of eaters at lunch or dinner or supper, whatever you want to call it. You can enjoy salads, sandwiches, a limited meat and veggie menu at lunchtime, and then for supper, your choice of a meat and vegetables. And Wayne's will be serving breakfast for supper the first of each month. Call on Wayne's for any catering event that you may have, offering catering service, so stop by 391 East Main Street in Spindale. Call 828-395-2225. Open Monday through Thursday, 11 until 2, for supper, 3 until 7.
Coming up this morning on My Great America with Jim and Butch, I have a special guest, Matt Schlaup. He is the chairman of the American Conservative Union, been involved in the conservative movement for some while, organizes the CPAC, and he'll be our guest this morning talking about things, how things are, and preparing for the CPAC meeting coming up real soon. He was White House Director of Political Activities in office when George W. Bush was there. He also worked for Donald Trump and has some other great history of conservative politics. We'll talk with him about that this morning on My Great America with Jim and Butch, 9:05. And Bostic's still on the map over there, so DeVern Upton, tell us all about what's happening.
Well, over here in Bostic this morning, we have a temperature of 54 degrees. We had a shower, a sprinkle overnight, but we're going to have a beautiful day today. Fire department had no calls. Go by the Bee Supply store there on Depot Street if you need any bee supply items. And she also has shirts and candles in there, so check the Bee Supply store out. And Bostic Florist is located right close to it, and they'll make all kinds of arrangements for you, so check their arrangements out. And hope everyone has a wonderful day.
DeVern, you have a wonderful day as well, and enjoy the beauty of it.
Okay.
And I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Now we're checking it now with Rutherfordton Fire District and Hudlow Fire District and Robbie Samuel. And he is there with us right now. Robbie, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jim. How are you?
How's that coffee?
Oh, it's wonderful this morning. Boy, it's hitting the spot.
Good way to get your
How's
eyes
yours?
over this.
That's all right.
Mine's great. All 3 cups so far.
Hey, you got to even it up. You got to have one more.
Yeah, that's right. I'll get that while this show's going on. I'll show you.
There you go.
What's going on?
Well, with the fire departments, Hudlow had a fire investigation last night. Ended up being a control burn. Rutherfton, we responded and set up a landing zone at the hospital. Apparently, they had 2 patients being flown out at the same time. Now, so we've had a few medical calls, and Of course, last night we also had our joint training. We do a facility training at the college about, we do it 5 times a year, so about every other month or so. We between Rutherford, Forest City, Spindale, Hudlow, and SDO, we all get together and do some facility training at the college and work together with each other. So that's always a good thing, and good fellowship, and get out and learn each other's trades and
Sure.
and how they do their stuff and how we do ours. So other than that, Jim, that's all I got going on this morning. So
all right.
Hopefully it'll be a good day, and it will be a good day. We'll just say that.
It will be, Robbie. It sure will. I appreciate you being on the duty over there, keeping us posted, and I'll check back in with you tomorrow.
Sounds good, Jim. You have a good day.
Thanks, Robbie. It's 7:30, and our temperature reading right now is still 52 degrees. Mighty warm for this time of day, but it'll be warming up to about 72 for a daytime high today, and a lot of wind. To win in sports, you must adjust your strategy as the game changes. The same is true of investments. Why not let Andrew Tisdale help you create a game plan for financial success? Call 828-287-9197 and get started today. That's Andrew Tisdale, 828-287-9197. Well, let's check in now over at the Cherry Mountain Fire District. That's where Sue Price is. Sue, how you doing?
Good morning, Jim. I'm doing good. Hope you are.
Yes, indeed. Looking out out the front door here and seeing the wind picking up already, so it's going to be one of those days.
Well, we're getting used to that wind, I reckon. It's here every day, looks like. But anyway, we're going to have a nice day, looks like. I believe maybe the sun's coming up. Not expecting rain today, are we?
No rain until the weekend.
Okay.
What we had earlier this morning is it for a while.
Well, that is good. Well, this is one of those days I don't have a thing on my calendar, so I don't have any birthdays or anniversaries, but we hope anybody that's having a birthday or anniversary will have a real good day on their special day and enjoy it. And I didn't have any calls from the fire department, so I reckon they've been quiet, and that's a good thing. And don't have any announcements that I know of, so if any of the churches have anything, they let me know, and I'd be glad to put it on for them. But so far, I haven't had anything come in. And I guess just looking for a good day, and I hope you'll have one, Jim.
You too, Sue. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Bye-bye.
Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City. The Drop-In Family Mart there in Bostic is one of those stores that we like to brag about because they do such good customer service. And not only that, they've got a deli tobacco store where they serve great food. A wide variety on the menu choices as well. It's a large store, and there's a meat market in place of this convenience store. They serve the best of meats, favorites, steaks, pork chops, roast. They have a meat cutter back there to cut that meat for you the way you want it. Their Major Lee's chicken, potato wedges, beef dogs, makes anybody a great meal at lunchtime or in the afternoons. Call your order in if you want to, and they'll have it ready for you. If you need help, they can even take your groceries to the car for you. It's great public service like nobody else offers. That's the Drop-In Family Mart there in Bostic on Bostic Sunshine Highway, sort of catty corner there from the post office. Go see them. All right, 7:34, and we head toward Shingle Hollow this morning, and Tina White's on the phone. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning, Jim. It is a beautiful morning here in Shingle Hollow. It's 52 degrees up here, and the sun is bright. It's very pretty. We have birthdays today for Donald Ashley and Nevaeh White. I hope both Donald and they have happy birthdays. The fire department in Shingle Hollow today at 9:30, the senior citizens are meeting. And then talking about the fire department, thankfully they were all quiet over the weekend. We're blessed for that. And this Saturday, the 25th, White House Community Clubhouse is having their country buffet breakfast from 7 to 10 a.m., $8 for adults and $4 for children. Come on out and have a good breakfast. And our community is in mourning this morning and will be for a while.
Yes.
James Haynes is going to be truly missed. Such an important part of our community. And so just keep us in your prayers, keep the family and the community as a whole.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be missed.
James, one of the good guys.
Oh, yeah. One of the finest fellows I've ever met. I went to church with him.
Yes.
Sat near him. Had a lot conversations, which I know that there's many people that feel this the very same way. But I've called him before. My son's car broke down. It's been several years ago, and it was way up in like near Linville. And he said, "Well, I'll be there as quick as I can. I'll run to the store and get the truck." And I've needed a notary several times in my life, and he'd say, "Well, come on, meet me, and I'll do it for you."
Yeah.
I mean, just one of a kind and genuine.
Gentleman.
High integrity.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So if the community will, if Rutherford County and any of our listeners just keep the family of James Haynes and our community in prayer, because we're going to be grieving for a while.
Yes. We do not have all the full arrangements on his funeral yet, but we'll have that maybe before the day is over with, but we'll certainly share that with our audience in terms of the receiving of friends and the funeral. But he will deeply be missed.
That's true. And I'll be listening out for those arrangements, too, and maybe can share them. But I hope everyone has a great day and just stay safe out there. And like you said, no fires, because that wind whips it. It gets strong.
Lose control in a minute.
Have a great day. Yes.
Tina, you
God
have
bless you.
You have a wonderful day up there. Be safe. I'll see you next time.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It's Tina White reporting out of Shingle Hollow, and she also reports from Green Hill, 7:37 right now.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
All right, Union Mills, wake up. Brenda Kelly's on the radio. Good morning, brother.
Good morning, Jim Bishop, on this terrific Tuesday morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm not going to complain because it could always get worse.
It indeed could do that.
And it don't take for just a minute for it to get worse.
I'll tell you.
But we hope everybody's having a good day. I was sorry to hear about James Haynes' death, too. I used to do a lot of shopping at Green Hill store.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, he'll be deeply missed.
Yeah, it happens, and the main thing is just be ready.
That's right.
That's the main thing. But I've got 48 degrees on the front porch. I don't have any birthdays, any anniversaries. And I had the pleasure of talking to a young man that I think you know very well yesterday afternoon, Michael Henderson.
No way.
Yeah, he's a sweet young man.
Well, he is a nice young man and a good tenor singer. And
yeah, I asked him, I said, "You back singing tenor with Jim?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, good."
Well, he's a gentleman and a scholar.
Oh, and he can play them instruments too, can't he?
Yes, he can. He sure can.
Yeah.
Where'd you happen to meet to see him?
I was down at the flower shop, and he come in to talk to his aunt. And,
Okay.
And
yes.
And so we just visited there.
Yeah, well, Well, we're glad to have him singing tenor for our quartet.
That's right. And then ways of announcements. Union Mills Wilderness Race, 5K, 10K, Saturday, February the 25th, 10 a.m., and proceeds go to the Union Mills Learning Center for programs offered to the public and for maintenance costs. This is the first race of the Rutherford Outdoor Coalition Service. Points will be awarded for both races. Medals for overall first, second, and third place. And so far, that's all I know of going on. So, short, sweet, quiet, and going to be windy. So, tie your toupee down.
That's right. Brother, you enjoy your day up there and have a safe one.
Okay, we'll catch you later.
See you now. Bye-bye. All right, it's time now for to go to Ellenboro. We'll check in with Luther, see if he's got everything tied down over there in Ellenboro, see what's going on. Let me remind you of the next Tar Heel game is Wednesday. That'll be tomorrow. They play Notre Dame. It's a 7:30 airtime, 8 o'clock pregame, and 9 o'clock tip-off. And then the next one will be Saturday, UNC in Virginia. Now, they got to pep things up a little bit and get on the stick and start winning some games. There's going to be a lot of upset fans with him. I think we got about two or three more of those calendars, Tar Heel calendars out here front. If you haven't got yours yet, like to come out and pick one. Yeah, please do that. And let's go to Ellenboro now and see what's up with Luther Gilligan. Good morning, Luther.
Good morning. Sunday, shiny birds singing.
It's a great day to wake up to.
It's going to be a nice day. A little cloudy, but not bad. Looks like it's going to be pretty good. But it's quiet there right now. This morning had a little bit excitement about 3:30 this morning. Had an accident then. Well, fire department had 2 accidents yesterday, and that's about all I had yesterday. 2 accidents. So they're quiet right now. Everything's going peaceful. People just getting their gas, heading on out to work. So nothing else going on. So you have a great day up there. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Luther. Be careful over there, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, take care now.
Bye-bye. Well, it's time to head over toward Granny B's there in Spindale, because Granny B's certainly knows how to fix a sub sandwich. I'll tell you, they've got several listed on the board. You look at the board and decide, I want number 3, number 5, tells what kind of meat to put on that. And then they'll ask you what kind of toppings you want to go on it. And boy, will they top it up for you. My. And then have some of the iced tea, the sweet iced tea. It's just a great place to take a friend for lunch. It's not a fancy place, but it's a good enough place to sit over in the corner and have a good meal by yourself, as I do many times, or with a friend. Go by Granny B's and enjoy a great sandwich, and a daylight donut will always top it off. Or if you want to do something nice for your office staff, go by there and pick up some donuts and take them to work with you. You'll find out that they'll love them as well. They're right on Main Street. They're right up the street from Lakeside Mills and right beside the Shake Shop. That's Granny B's. Now, if you've called your birthday in, 287-3356, we'll announce those, 287-3356.
Happy birthday.
Wish Nevaeh White a happy birthday from Shingahala. She is 11 today. Nevaeh, happy birthday. Have many more happy returns. I see his daughter, so we want to wish her a special happy birthday. Thanks for sharing that with us. Coming up, Keys to Confident Living, and then we'll take you down memory lane with some classic oldies, songs I bet you'll remember from your days of courting and sitting in the drugstore sipping cherry cokes with 2 straws and maybe ordering one order of fries and having both of you eat the order of fries. Yeah, I remember those days.
Margaret and I have 3 sons, so the following few lines from
Near the one-year anniversary of the Russian invasion. ABC's Mary Bruce is also in Warsaw with more on the president's address later this morning.
In his speech here today, the president will outline what is at stake in this fight as he urges allies to sustain their support. He will frame this as a fight for democracy, a fight for the security of Europe, and he will also be making the case to try and shore up support back at home, as polls have shown that the U.S. interest in this war is starting to wane.
In Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin also with a speech of his own. In that speech, Putin announced he is pulling Russia out of the New START treaty and that Russia should stand by ready to resume nuclear weapons tests if the U.S. does as well. ABC's Ian Paddle is in Kyiv with the latest.
The American ambassador to Moscow has been summoned for talks at the Russian Foreign Ministry in connection with America's support for Ukraine. No backing down, no easing in tensions, and no sign this war is going to end anytime soon.
Another powerful earthquake hitting the same area where nearly 47,000 people were killed in southern Turkey and northern Syria earlier this month. At the Foreign Desk, here's ABC's Marcus Moore.
Search and rescue teams in Turkey and Syria surveying the damage, searching through rubble using flashlights, looking for anyone who may still be trapped after another powerful earthquake struck the region. The 6.3 magnitude quake coming just 2 weeks after tens of thousands died in the region in a pair of catastrophic earthquakes.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says he wants freight rail companies to join a conditional close call reporting program and to add safer tanker cars over the next 2 years following the East Palestine, Ohio train derailment and chemical spill. You're listening to ABC News.
You may know the story of Emmett Till, the 14-year-old boy who was brutally beaten and murdered in Mississippi. But you might have never heard his story if it weren't for one woman, his grieving mother, who turned her son's death into a rallying cry for justice.
A voice said to me, the world will cry for Emmett Till.
From ABC Audio comes Reclaimed, the story of Mamie Till Mobley. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
Wait a minute. You mean now I can listen to GMA any time of the day, anywhere?
Yes, that's exactly what we mean with the new Good Morning America podcast. Listen to all of GMA served up daily straight to you. Oh, Michael.
What? I'm listening to our new GMA podcast. It's really good.
Listen to the Good Morning America podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Subscribe now. It's really good.
The Supreme Court this morning is set to hear arguments over a key law that protects social media companies like Facebook or Twitter from being sued over what users post. ABC's Devin Dwyer.
This is a huge deal for any American who thinks they've been harmed by social media use or a website and internet service. Those companies have been protected, really blanket sweeping immunity by Section 230 of the Federal Communications Decency Act.
The family of an American killed during the 2015 terror attacks is taking on YouTube, saying it left videos online put together by ISIS. New hope for some people suffering paralysis after a stroke.
Researchers implanted a device that zaps the spinal cord with electric pulses in spots that control hand and arm motion. It makes a weakened signal from the brain stronger. They can grasp and manipulate objects. University of Pittsburgh assistant professor Marco Capagrosso led the research at Carnegie Mellon University.
As soon as the stimulation turned on, they are immediately able to do things they couldn't do before, or at least to have more strength in their muscles.
It's not a cure. Improvements ended after removing the temporary implant. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
And plans in Japan to let people get a glimpse of space. A company now says it has developed a balloon that can take people up to an altitude of 15 miles, high enough to see the curve of the Earth. The first flights later this year will cost $180,000. This is ABC News.
I'm innocent.
I am innocent.
I am innocent. How annoying that you just said all this innocent stuff for so long and you're really guilty.
That's when Jen Shaw knew the game was up.
It was like working with a 40-year-old child.
The housewife scam, the real life of Jen Shaw.
6.5 years in federal prison.
Jen Shaw, a fraud.
This is Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu.
So pay me my money.
Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Highs will reach the upper 60s and lower 70s. We have to get rid of some of those early sprinkles that are moving through, and near record warmth will build in for later today. We have some gusty winds that are in place as well. We can see winds gust upwards of 30 miles per hour. We're going to watch the fire danger threat as we head into the afternoon due to strong winds and low humidity. Near record warm tomorrow, highs in the low to upper 70s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Right now it's 53 degrees under sunny skies. Feels like summertime, or it will before the day's over with, because it's warming up to about 72 today. And that wind's going to be the factor, though. Gusts as high as 27 miles per hour. But wait a minute. Hold off. When you get down to Thursday, the high's near 82. Jim, you sure you read that right? Sure, I'm reading that right. Partly cloudy with a high near 82, and windy with a south-southwest wind 13 to 22 miles per hour, with gusts as high as 32 miles per hour. Then on Friday, we'll have wind gusts to 10 miles per hour with highs near 68. So we got summer-like weather coming our way. So does that mean all the flowers are going to pop up? It's going to turn off wintertime again? We got to ride it with the waves, boys. It's going to be all right. 8:06 right now, and it is Andrew Tisdale Day here at the Blue Room. And we'll have him on in just a moment, right after this.
Hungry? Lunchtime, dinner time, anytime is a good time to stop in at Gregory's Original Restaurant. Choose from fresh, delicious burgers, fries, sandwiches, pasta dishes, fresh salads, grinders, and so much more. All orders are prepared fresh and to perfection. Open Monday through Friday, 11 till 9, Saturdays, noon till 9, closed on Sundays. Call in or carry out, 828-287-2171. Located in the Park Lane Plaza in Rutherfordton, and DoorDash delivery is available. Fast and friendly service. That's Gregory's Original Restaurant.
Well, let's turn our attention right now to our friend, been with us now for some while on Tuesday mornings and sharing ideas that helps us hopefully along the way with our financial responsibilities and our hopefully financial securities. Mr. Andrew Tisdale, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Doing great. Can you imagine 82 in February?
I can't. It's hard for me to comprehend.
Well, you know, baseball season's really, I guess, kind of officially started for high school yesterday.
Dude?
Maybe Monday or this weekend. I know Chase was at Kings Mountain or played Kings Mountain this weekend, and East was playing York, South Carolina in a scrimmage yesterday, and I'm used to bundling up to watch those, but it was pretty comfortable.
I bet the guys love playing in this kind of weather, though.
Yes, they do. They do.
Having to blow their hands to keep them warm.
That's right. That is exactly right. We got 3 good teams this year to compete in the county.
Yeah, good.
3 good. Well, I have to say maybe 4. I'm not well versed on Thomas Jefferson. I know they got a good coach, though.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
they got a good coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope we have 4 good teams. I hope they all do well this year.
Absolutely. But there's only one state champion, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's right. What you got on your mind today?
So here's something to how do people look at how the economy's going? You know, you hear different opinions on the TVs. I mean, you know, if you watch CNBC, you're going to have 10 different people every day say, well, this is how I feel the economy's going. Well, here's something that's going to happen this week to give us a more simplified look at what can we anticipate for this economy. It's called the Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index. That's a big word. Well, big few words. But what does that mean? Simply what that means is, what are we spending? As individuals, what are we willing to pay for goods and services? Services that we may see as needs, services we may see as just luxury, services that or goods that we see as needs, clothing, food, gas, anything. How much are we willing to pay? Because think about it this way. On Friday, when it actually comes out to report, what that's going to report is, are we spending more this quarter, or are we spending less? If we are spending more, guess what that's going to cause prices to do? If we're willing to pay for something at that price, prices are still going to go up. If we are spending less, then people are going to have to drop their prices. That's economics. So if we see on this Friday report, this PCE, that our economy that we are still willing to spend higher amounts for what we normally do just to keep our daily traditional routine going, we can anticipate inflation is going to keep moving. But if we notice that now people are actually starting to save a little more or crunch their pennies a little more, then we'll see it drop. And then we may see that inflation is actually going down. Think about that for a second. How much power do we really have? It is our dollar. Remember, it is your dollar. It is, you either control your dollar or your dollar controls you. And we are in a consumer society with marketing wanting you to spend that dollar. Everybody wants that dollar. But it's your dollar, and you decide what to do with it and where to go with it. You asked me a question this morning, and I'll have to admit that Sarah's the brain behind this. But you said, I hear you got some good dog food. Well, here's a way, just a tip. I'm not saying go do this. I'm just saying, how are we kind of cutting back and saving some money? Well, we take a box of rice and a bag of frozen vegetables and some meat on sale, whether it's chicken livers or gizzards or old chicken or maybe even some meat or deer meat that we've had it in the freezer for a long time, we just hadn't got to yet. Put it in a crock pot. We're saving $50 to $60 a month instead of going out and buying some of that bagged dog food. My father-in-law said yesterday he went and bought some cat food for cheese biscuit. He said it was $36 for a. So that's a lot of money. But what if we just cut back on that? Don't look for the cheapest bagged dog food. What about, the rice and the frozen vegetables and the meats, things like that? I will say it's made our dogs happier, But if we saved $50 a month based on what we were buying to what we're doing now on dog food, what if 1,000 people did that? 10,000 people did that? Whether it's dog food or goods or services, what if our shoes, we took care of them and they lasted 2-3 months longer than normal? We as people in America still have freedom. And when it comes down to the economy, we still have a lot of power in that economy. And it's based on budgeting and controlling our expenditures, doing what we feel is right and is in our resource.
Some people think they have to have a lot of money to come to Andrew Tisdale for advice on how to invest. Do they have to have a lot of money, or can you use a little bit of money? You
can't get a lot of money without starting with a little bit.
Yeah.
When you talk about and you hear this term wealth management, wealth don't just mean money. I've learned this from a lot of wise people in my life, that wealth is love, family, resources, money, time. So in a wealth management standpoint, it doesn't matter what you have in your bank account or in your 401k or anything like that. Our job as the advisors, the wealth managers, is to teach you how to either create it, to sustain it, or preserve it. So there's different stages in anything like that. It takes a penny to get to $1. It takes $1 to get to $100. It takes 100 to get to 1,000. That's the beauty of our economy. That's the beauty of what God has given us to be able to do resources. So long answer short, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think anybody will that works with us will say, when I walked in them to talk to them for the first time, they never asked for my statement until I made the decision to work with them. That's one thing I envision and I hope that everybody feels when they come in. I'm not looking at the statement. I'm looking at the person. Are we a good fit for each other?
That's good advice. And if anyone asks more questions or get to you, how can they reach you?
Right now I'm handing out my cell phone because our phone system, I've not yet set it up just because we're so busy, which is a blessing. But more than welcome to give me a text or call my cell phone at 828-429-7539. 828-429-7539. We're in the Rockwood Plaza, 247 Oak Street Extension, Suite 105.
Is that a temporary location for you till?
That's my plan.
Yeah.
That is my plan. But like you said a minute ago, they say everything's going to be all right. Go with the wave.
Yeah.
So, that's so. We'll,
all right.
I mean, would you sell your house if somebody gave you the perfect price for it?
Well, we won't go there.
Edward Tisdale, my guest on Tuesday mornings. Hey, give him a call if you have any questions about how to handle your dollars. He's sure he has a plan that'll best suit you and your family. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Y'all try that dog food out.
I'm going to try that dog food. Not for me, but for my dog.
Yeah, well, they're going to love you.
Misty will love it, I'm sure.
That's right. Everybody
I'll
have a
be
great
back
day.
in just a moment.
Matt Mahan's Funeral Home and Cremation Services in Rutherfordton has been a family business since 1953, offering care, dignity, honor, and unique opportunities for families to create a healing moment after a loss. John McMahon and his fine staff bring experience coupled with perspective to help in paying tribute in a traditional or unique way. Call 287-4715 or visit online today at www.mattmahansfuneralhome.com. There, you can view current obituary information or pre-plan for yourself or loved ones. Matt Mahan's Funeral Home offers healing to the community through burial and cremation services, grief support, whether it's a funeral or a memorial service. Matt Mahan's Funeral Home and Cremation Services knows the importance of ceremony and will guide you in honoring the life and memories of your loved one. Call Matt Mahan's Funeral Home and Cremation Services today at 287-4715 or visit them at 249 South Main Street in Rutherfordton.
Well, some news from here and there. The Daily Courier is reporting recently that Dale Folwell, the treasurer, North Carolina treasurer, has exposed nonprofit hospitals for excessive CEO pays. Nonprofit hospital executives enrich themselves while fueling a crisis of health care affordability in North Carolina, according to a study spearheaded by State Treasurer Dale Folwell. In a press conference Wednesday, Folwell revealed the findings of the study. The new analysis of hospital data finds that nonprofit hospital CEOs doubled their paychecks in less than 5 years, a fraction of the time previously thought. Existing research had gravely underestimated the growth of wage inequity across nonprofit hospitals. Folwell, CPA, invited researchers from the North Carolina State Health Plan for Teachers and State Employees, Johns Hopkins University Bloomberg School of Public Health, and Rice University's Baker Institute for Public Policy to study executive compensation across North Carolina's 9 largest hospital systems, including Atrium, Mission, Novat, UNC, Vidat, Duke, Cone, WakeMed, and Wake Forest Baptist Health, as well as the Midwest system Advocate Aurora Health that merged with Atrium Health. In regard to Mission Health, much of the study was done prior to 2019, when it was a nonprofit. As of February 20th, 2019, Mission was purchased and is currently a for-profit hospital and subsequently pays taxes. When North Carolina hospitals paid $1.75 billion to their top executives, Chief Executive Officer captured almost 20% of that pay from 2010 to 2021. Researchers also found troubling trends in hospital executive compensation during the pandemic. Frontline workers gained national recognition for their work caring for patients, but nurse and physician wages have risen far more slowly than executive pay over the past decades. Despite pleading poverty and taking $1.5 billion in taxpayer-funded COVID relief, the majority of hospital top executives did not cut their own paychecks in 2020. Folwell said doctors and nurses risked their lives during the pandemic. Most hospital executives didn't even cut their own pay. Instead, these systems grabbed millions of taxpayer-funded COVID relief dollars that were meant for struggling hospitals and then gave their executives a pay raise. While hospital executives enjoyed huge raises, workers' wages have remained largely flat over the past decade. Rising health care costs are eroding families' upward mobility. The average worker now loses 20% of a paycheck to health care costs, and 1 in 5 North Carolinians is in debt collections for medical bills. State employees must work 1 week out of every month just to pay the family's premium. Rutherford Regional Health System is a for-profit hospital and not a part of this study. In a statement, the UNC healthcare system defended how it pays its personnel. According to peer review reports commissioned by the treasurer, nonprofit hospitals enjoyed more than $1.8 billion in tax breaks in 2020, but the majority of hospitals failed to justify their tax breaks by providing an equivalent level of charity care. Nonprofit hospitals receive substantial taxpayer subsidies. In return, they must advance charitable missions. Executive compensation is an important lens for the public to understand governance within these hospitals. Some takeaways from this particular article. North Carolina's 9 largest hospital systems paid highly compensated executives more than $1.75 billion from 2010 to 2021. Almost 20% of that compensation was captured by a handful of hospital CEOs who collectively took home $308.8 million over 12 years. This is likely a significant underestimation because the public cannot access the tax filings that track how much publicly owned hospitals pay their top executives. A loophole in current law hides these tax filings for more than 3 in 10 nonprofit hospitals in North Carolina, including Atrium and UNC Health. UNC Health did not enter a public records request for executive compensation data until February 13th, 2 days before this report publication, almost 3 months after the UNC received the request. Researchers, therefore, could not analyze UNC Health System's statewide data. They instead relied on partial overlapping data from the UNC Rex Hospital. So they are studying that real closely, and North Carolina Treasurer Dale Falwell is running some real checks on that to see if the money is being unwisely spent with these not-for-profit hospitals. Well, another news from around the area on the Sheriff's Report, by the way, coming up here. Let me get to that right after this.
There are plenty of drugstores in Rutherford County, but not all of them offer the same personal customer service that is offered at the Medicine Box of Rutherfordton. Laura Hodge and her team have trusted experience and professional service. You're not just a number to them, you're a friend. Make the Medicine Box of Rutherfordton your hometown drugstore at 200 Charlotte Road in Rutherfordton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 1, 287-7117.
Lieutenant Lowry gave us the report from the Sheriff's Department this morning, and we recorded it for broadcast at this time for those of you who slept late. Here it is.
In the past 24 hours, Sheriff's Office has received 152 calls. The jail processed 17 arrests, and we currently have 181 in the jail. For incidents reports, we have Reed's Mini Storage in Forest City reported an incident of breaking and entering. Heather Baisden of Ballstick reported an incident of assault on a female. Stephen Landry of Rutherfordton reported an incident of breaking and entering. Harris First Baptist in Forest City reported an incident of felony larceny. And then for arrest reports, we have Henry Allen of Forest City charged with simulation of court process. Robert Eason of Forest City charged with failure to appear on misdemeanor. Shanna Perpetua of Mooresboro charged with failure to appear on misdemeanor. David Hollifield of Rutherfordton charged with breaking and entering. Justin Harris of Grover charged with failure to appear on misdemeanor. Whitney McSwain of Union Mills charged with 2 counts of true bill of indictment and 1 count of failure to appear on misdemeanor. Therese Watkins of Spindale charged with simulation of court process. Robert Ash of Ballstick charged with assault on female. Caitlin Smith, address listed as homeless, arrested for failure to appear on criminal summons or citation. And that's it.
Thanks so much to Lieutenant Lowry for that report. We try to keep you posted on what's happening in the world of crime fighting in our county with the Sheriff's Report. It's been the Sheriff's Report over 50-something years, and we're glad they work with us, Sheriff's Department, the fire and rescue folks that have agreed to be on with us. We appreciate them so very much because we know you like to be informed, and we try our best to keep you informed with these reports from the fire districts and other points around. So thank you for making WCAB your radio station of choice for the foothills. We appreciate you. Always said you're the best Oilers in the whole wide world, and I love every stinking one of you. Sports is up next.
NCN Sports, I'm Nate Saunders. Jeremy Roach had 14 points and 6 assists. Kyle Filipowski added 13 and 7 rebounds, and Duke beat Louisville 79-62 for its third straight victory. Duke trailed by 9 points early before scoring 13 unanswered points to go ahead for good at 22-18. Jacob Grandison made 2 3-pointers during the run, and Tyrese Proctor added another. Roach captured the first half scoring with a long jumper before the buzzer to give Duke a 42-33 lead. Filipowski made a 3-pointer in the first minute of the second half to put Duke ahead by double figures, and the lead didn't drop below 10 the rest of the way. Houston returned to number 1 in the AP men's college basketball poll for the third time this season, while Northwestern and Texas A&M barged into the rankings after each had a pair of impressive wins last week. The Cougars picked up 48 first-place votes from the 62-member nationwide panel with just 2 weeks left in the regular season. Alabama dropped 1 spot after losing to Tennessee and routing Georgia in its lone week at number 1. The Crimson Tide held on to 7 first-place votes, while Kansas also earned 7 to climb 2 spots to number 3. North Carolina State and Florida Atlantic dropped out after each lost games last week. So big changes are in store for Major League Baseball's 2023 season. That's according to CBS News reporter Christopher Cruz.
The size of the bases has been increased to 18-inch squares from 15. The new pitch clock is 15 seconds with no runners on base and 20 seconds with runners. The infield shift has been eliminated, and pitchers are limited to 2 pickoff attempts or steps off the rubber for each appearance at the plate by a batter.
And South Carolina remained at number 1 in the Associated Press women's college basketball poll after topping Missouri in overtime on Sunday. The Gamecocks have been number 1 for 35 straight weeks, the third longest streak of all time. I'm Nate Saunders. You're listening to NCN Sports.
This is the season to start getting out fall sweaters. The season to dust off your holiday decorations. The season where we all gather together. And the season to get your annual flu shot. It's the best way to prevent serious illness, especially if you're 49 and older or have pre-existing conditions. This is the season to stay protected with a flu shot. Learn more at myspot.nc.gov/flu.
Science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM, is an important part of instruction, but not all schools have funding to provide it. NC Green Power is a nonprofit supporting STEM education through its Solar Plus Schools grant program. Donations will help provide training for teachers and hands-on activities for their students. Plus, the included solar array will significantly lower schools' energy costs. Help your students by supporting Solar Plus Schools today. Visit ncgreenpower.org. Donate to benefit STEM education. ncgreenpower.org.
Aaron Judge flashed a big smile when asked if he could have another season like last year's record setter when the New York Yankees slugger hit an AL record 62 homers. He said, "You never know what could happen." Judge was a free agent after last season and ended up signing a $360 million 9-year contract to stay with New York. The new Yankees captain, the first since Hall of Famer Derek Jeter, took live batting practice during the team's first full squad workout. Judge's main focus is on helping New York win its first World Series title since 2009. Yesterday in college basketball, NC Central beat Maryland Eastern Shore 68-63. Number 3 Kansas held on against number 25 TCU 63-58. Tonight, Carolina plays hockey against St. Louis in Raleigh at 7. I'm Nate Saunders, NCN Sports.
Highs will reach the upper 60s and lower 70s. We have to get rid of some of those early sprinkles that are moving through, and near record warmth will build in for later today. We have some gusty winds that are in place as well. We can see winds gust upwards of 30 miles per hour. We're going to watch the fire danger threat as we head into the afternoon due to strong winds and low humidity. Near record warm tomorrow, highs in the low to upper 70s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Well, welcome to summertime, springtime, and summertime. Today it's going to warm up to 72, near 72 for a daytime high, with wind gusting as high as 27 miles per hour. So it's going to be spring-like, and it's warmer every day, 74 on Wednesday. And by Thursday, we're looking at highs near 82 with a south-southwest wind 13 to 22 miles per hour, with gusts as high as 32 miles per hour. Then on Friday, partly cloudy with a high near 68, and wind gust as high as 50 miles per hour. So wind starts settling down a little bit toward the weekend, and the temperature starts dropping a little bit, but we're still getting rain in here on Friday night and Saturday. Looks like about a 45% chance of rain. 60% chance of rain on Saturday, and then 40% chance of rain on Sunday. And we've got a 30% chance of rain next Monday. So rain's coming. It's settling down a little bit, not near as windy, but we are indeed going to... Well, just found an uninvited guest here in the Blue Room on the console. Little ladybug. Are they out and about, I guess? They're crawling around on my console here. Well, welcome, Ladybug, to the morning show. I hope you enjoyed it. Get rid of the ladybug. I don't know. I guess the ladybugs thought it's springtime also. They just crawling around on my turntable here. Not my turntable, my board. So we'll see what... All right, let's see what's some of the stories around about. 10 people were charged after an illegal gambling operation busted in Cherokee County, Gaffney, South Carolina. According to the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, officials raided a business on February the 7th at 1111 Cherokee Avenue in Gaffney in reference to illegal gambling operations. Sheriff Steve Miller said, I just want them to know that these machines are illegal in South Carolina, and if we find that you've got these machines, our folks are going to make the arrest. You're going to jail, and you have to pay your day in court. Miller said they were able to bust the illegal operation thanks to an anonymous tip. He said the investigation lasted 3 to 4 months. At the time of the execution, 6 people were playing the gambling machines along with an attendant overseeing the operation. We've had some of those in this county as well, and they busted them. So it's just not one of those things you want to get involved with, folks. Well, in the early morning hours of Tuesday, February 14th, Asheville Police Department responded to the BMW of Asheville due to a breaking and entering. Lieutenant Russell Chris said intruders were on the scene at 4:18. He said that through an investigation, detectives determined the suspects had taken off with 4 BMWs by 4:28. Lieutenant Chris said this is not a crime that's typically seen in Asheville, and that this was a very quick timeline for 4 vehicles to be stolen from a single location. So there you go. Still in the expensive cars now. He said that when he arrived at work on Tuesday morning, Asheville Police Department was already on the scene, and it was a big glass mess where the crime occurred. Williams said his initial thought was, when he saw the scene, was that these suspects knew exactly what they were doing. He added that for the scene to look the way it did, the suspects had to have previously been at the car dealership prior to this happening. Using the property's surveillance footage, Williams walked News 13 through the early hours of Tuesday. At around 4:18 a.m., 7 people arrived at BMW of Asheville in a car and got out. One of the suspects threw a rock through the window on the side of the building. They all entered through the busted window and drove away with 4 BMWs. Oh, look, people just ignore all the job notifications that there are jobs out there. They'd just rather steal from somebody, I guess. Well, another report in New York City, which I've had a little bit of experience with, having my daughter lived up there about 20 years. If I don't ever go back, it'll be just fine with me. And every time I read the news of New York City, and I thank the Lord that the family decided to move out of there, come back home. Anyway, New York City sent the fingerprints of unvaccinated public school teachers to the FBI. Now, you know what I'm saying? New York City sent the fingerprints of unvaccinated public school teachers to the FBI. The educators allege in a lawsuit against the city government that their fingerprints were given to the FBI because they did not take the vax. The city also flagged the teachers, whom the city fired for refusing to take the COVID-19 vaccine, with a problem code that can affect their ability to get another job. This is according to Fox News. Fingerprints are sent with that flag to the FBI and the New York Criminal Justice Services, so it impacts their ongoing ability to get employment at other places, according to John Bursch, a lawyer representing the teachers in their suit against the city. Employees filed suit after the New York City Mayor Eric Adams announced on February the 6th that he's lifting the city's COVID mandate. During the course of the mandate, 1,780 New York City employees, including those in the Department of Education, Department of Health, New York Police Department, and Fire Department of New York, lost their jobs for refusing the vaccine, according to the New York Post. The city denied a religious exemption for one teacher who had worked for New York public schools for 15 years. Religiously, mentally, I just didn't want anything experimental on my body, so what criminal activity does that persist, she asked. This is an invasion of privacy, forcing you to take the vaccine, forcing you. What if they start forcing you to take the flu shot? City employees fired for refusing the vaccine still have to reapply for jobs without guarantee of their previous salaries or benefits. Attorney James Mermergis joined the legal battle to prevent future mandates, arguing such policies are unconstitutional. Mermergis said so many employees were lawfully terminated. Mayor Adams and his cronies blatantly violated New York City human rights laws during the accommodation process. They cannot be let off the hook because he rescinds the mandates. Got to go pursue it, he says, and hold them responsible. I don't know the philosophy behind all that, but I know it's not a good one. Well, as Americans suffer under the worst economy since the Great Depression, according to this one article, Democrats and federal employees are pushing for a pay raise. Sounds about par for the course, doesn't it? This week, New Jersey Democrat Senator Cory Booker, federal employee union thugs, and demanded that the government give federal employees a nearly 9% pay raise, according to the Washington newspaper The Hill. While Americans are suffering to some degree, while the federal government can well do without most federal employees, this article says, most of which add nothing but expenses to our government, Democrats are pandering to the unions by joining their calls for an 8.7% pay raise for government hangers-ons and budget drags. Unfortunately, they also found the support of a traitor Republican in the person of Pennsylvania Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick, who claimed that it isn't a pay raise they seek, but fairness. He said, we've got to stop calling, by the way, what I just did, which is a pay increase, which it is not, is fair play. Firstly, if you support federal employees' unions, you stand against America. So clearly, Fitzpatrick is pandering for union donations and cares nothing about the country. Meanwhile, as these useless expenditures by our Treasury whine for higher pay, jobs that already pay better than most jobs, so the rest of us can't afford our rent, utilities, or even food for our tables. It's written by Warner Todd in the Patriot.com. He's espousing on that opportunity. I thought this one was interesting. Been to many weddings, I'm sure many of you have, indoor, outdoor, small, large. Well, over in Charlotte, WBTV is reporting that firefighters rescued 6 people who were trapped inside a stuck elevator at a wedding party Sunday morning. According to the Charlotte Fire Department, the incident happened inside a building on West Trade Street sometime around 1:30 a.m. A WBTV crew saw first responders entering the Grand Bohemian Hotel. The 6 people were caught in the elevator. Firefighters rigged what appeared to be a pulley system to lift the elevator to the next floor where the passengers were able to exit. Officials said the passengers were trapped between the first and second floors. After they were rescued, nobody on board the elevator needed medical attention. The fire department wished the newly married couples a long and happy life after saving their wedding plans after being stuck in the elevator for hours. That's something to tell you, kiddos, after you get married. And tell us about your wedding, Mom, Dad. Well, son, we got stuck in an elevator for about 4 hours, and it's something to tell. I hope they made pictures selfies and all those things. Well, congratulations to the East Rutherford Lady Cavaliers. They defeated the Hendersonville Bearcats 57-50 Friday night to become the Mountain Foothills 7 Conference Tournament champions. Congratulations to the East Rutherford Lady Cavaliers for being the champions, beating Hendersonville Bearcats 57-50 Friday night. So there you go. Well, my friend Dr. Glenn Mollett, I've used his material on several occasions. I think this one is another good one, if I may share that with you. Then I get out of here and take a little break before My Great America. American citizens need police officers. Our state police, county sheriff's department, and city police all deserve our help, respect, and decent pay. None of us like being recipients of speeding or other motor vehicle violations. However, often a warning or a ticket may be what it takes to get our attention and might even save our lives. When someone is threatening us, we want the police. We expect them to come and help us. These are the men and women who often risk their lives to protect us. So praise the good ones because they're deserving of honor. The Defund the Police movement has been fueled by horrific incidents such as when Minneapolis police murdered George Floyd on May 25th, 2020. This murder has been replayed over and over on national television. Most recently, the horrific killing of Tyre Nichols in Memphis, Tennessee has fanned the flames of police hatred. These and other police brutality events continue to severely damage the image of America's police force. The behavior of 5 Memphis police officers toward Mr. Nichols was beyond criminal. This does not justify defunding the police, though. Such behavior reinforces the need that all those in law enforcement must have routine mental health tests. Only qualified people who have been thoroughly examined and trained should ever be allowed to wear a badge. Training and mental health evaluations must be ongoing. The 5 former Memphis police officers were charged with murder over the death of Tyre Nichols, but pled not guilty in their first court appearance. The arrest of Mr. Nichols on January 7th has been reported through the national media. They were fired after an internal investigation by the Memphis Police Department. Lead prosecutor Paul Hageman said Memphis and the whole world need to see that what's right is done in this case, and it needs to happen sooner rather than later. Well, the officers were arrested and taken into custody on January 26th after the Memphis police revealed body cam footage of the violent arrest. In the footage, 29-year-old Mr. Nichols can be heard calling for his mother as he is beaten by police after being pulled over for alleged reckless driving. He was pepper sprayed, kicked, and punched by the officers and died in the hospital 3 days later. Memphis Police Chief Cyril Davis said the incident was not just a professional failing, but a failing of basic humanity toward another individual. Glenn Mollett goes on to say, I believe that 99% of the men and women wearing badges are good people who are looking out for our welfare and our safety. The actions of a few should not discredit all law enforcement, whether it's politics, medical doctors, attorneys, business people, and more. There are always a few bad apples that make others look bad. There's always a few bad apples that ruin the image of others. There are a few bad pastors. There are a few bad lawyers. There are a few bad judges. There are a few bad congressmen and senators. But it doesn't make everybody bad because one of the stripe happens to be bad. All police officers are not bad. They're mostly all good, respected, conscientious, and caring. Police officers have the upper hand. They have the badge and a gun. We should give them respect, and they should respect all citizens. Having a badge never gives any law enforcement officer the right to pour out their frustrations, their racial hatred, or their own personal demons on another citizen. No one is ever in a position to put up a defense as sadly shown by Tyre Nichols and some of the others. So let's respect our police officers and give them the respect that they deserve. Sure, they may be a bad apple somewhere there, but we don't criticize all of them. We don't cry, defund the police because they're all bad. No, they're not all bad. 99% of them are probably just like your daddy or your brother or your sister. So let's respect them. Let's give them the respect they deserve. Because after all, ladies and gentlemen, they put their life on the line every day when they go out to protect us. They go out in the middle of the night. They walk into a room where there's a domestic problem going on, knowing that's one of the worst situations they could face. We need to thank them. We need to give them respect and tell them thank you when you see one. Thank you for your service. They don't get much of that, but yet they'd be willing to lay down their life for you and me. So I appreciate every police officer, man and woman that's out there fighting the good fight, trying to eliminate the bad guys off the streets so they'll not get away with what they're doing. If we can move that on up the line and increase the penalties on some of these crimes that they're committing, I don't know, is it the lawmakers in Raleigh, or is it the magistrates, is it the judges, who, or the prosecutors? Somebody along the line makes it easy on some of these criminals to get back out on the street and repeat the same thing in about 5 days or 4 or 5 hours. So let's talk about where that can be. And we need to think about more correcting of that instead of thinking about, oh, that gun's terrible. We need to get all the guns off the street. Well, that is a dumb, stupid statement. It's the hearts and minds of the individual that's pulling that gun. Somewhere along the while, that young boy has not been trained properly. Or that young woman has not been trained properly. Or that older man has not been trained. Somewhere along the way, he's missed it because somebody did not teach him the importance of life. Did not teach him the importance of taking care of himself mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's not the guns that are doing it. I've got several. None of them have ever picked themselves up and shot anybody. So it's in the heart and the mind of the individual who has the gun, who has the hatred in their hearts that causes the problem. That's where we need to concentrate. That's where we need to concentrate. The prison system needs to concentrate on doing something to help them rather than letting them work out every day in the weight room. We need to try to get something instilled in their minds about the importance of the sanctity of life. So when they come out of there, they're willing to walk the straight and narrow. If they don't have any training, they don't not taught any substance of spiritual renewal, then they don't know anything different from what they've been doing. So maybe we'll talk about changing the policies and the sentencing on some of these folks that commit a crime and then they're back out on the street in 30 days and just been slapped on the wrist. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject, that's a whole nother program. I'm going to step away, make room for My Great America with Jim and Butch. And we have a special guest this morning be calling in with us. We'll find out more about him and what he's all about and some upcoming things. So be sure to stay tuned right here. I'll be back in just a few.
Too much of a good thing isn't always a good thing, like too many sprays of cologne, too many loops in a roller coaster, or too many rescue cats. But you can never have too many chances to win. That's why new Multiply the Cash scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery have more chances to win than ever before. With chances to multiply your win on the front and back, too much is just right. Easy, kitty. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.24 to 4.83. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Mission Health Center Rutherford is now open in Forest City, a multi-specialty clinic with care for the whole family. From routine preventative care to the treatment of chronic conditions, our providers offer a personalized approach to meet your specific needs. Now accepting new patients. Call 828-659-5741 to make an appointment today. Mission Health Center Rutherford. Quality care close to home.
Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City.
Broadcasting the best classic oldies from beautiful downtown Whiteside Road. We are 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB, Rutherfordton.
It's time now for My Great America with Jim and Butch, a conversation about positive things about this great country. And now here are Jim and Butch.
Well, it's a great day to be in the Blue Room, Butch.
It's a great day to be in the Blue Room with you, Jim.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They're new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. God is faithful. You know, I did tell you real quickly, I need to give some attention to this plant.
Yes.
It's hurting a little bit, but we'll figure out why. And, you know, relationships and expressions of commitments to our country are like a plant. You got to water it. You got to tend it. You know, our liberties aren't just ones we can expect the flowering of freedom to happen without our attention and our commitment. We stand on the shoulders of great men and women who through the years have made a difference. Now, Jim, we've got a very special guest today.
We do have a special guest, Matt Schlapp. We attempted this last week. It was my error that the phone did not go through, my error, but we corrected that. And Matt will be calling in here in a few minutes, and we'll talk with him. He's a well-known conservative celebrity across America, and he's been on national television many times and news stories. And he is the chairman of the American Conservative Union and heads up CPAC, many of you have heard about. And he'll be checking in with us. We'll be talking with him about the conservative movement in North Carolina and the nation.
And his wife, Mercedes, is powerful.
Yes.
And she, I believe, was number 45, President Trump's director of strategic communications.
She was.
They're out of the White House, and they're, you know, you love to see powerful couples doing great things for the country, for the conservative movement, and for, you know, and the living God, because God cares. God cares. Jesus is not a Republican. I told somebody that the other day. But truth is at the heart of what God wants, truth and justice. And so it's extremely important that we make sure we're on the right side of matters, especially now, Jim, when the world, it's so clearly being defined, the world is dividing into salt and a lack of salt, light and darkness, truth and untruth, righteousness and unrighteousness, and there is no middle ground. I lived for so many years in that middle ground. It's now time where we're being called out to say, whose side are you on?
Mm-hmm. You're right, Jesus is not a Republican or a Democrat, but when you study and look at the issues of which both parties stand on and run on, it lined it up with what the Scripture says.
Yes.
The conservative principles are so closely aligned with what the Bible says.
No question. And scores of old friends that find our little thing on YouTube roll over, not in their graves, but roll over in that moment and say, we have no idea what happened to Butch, but he's not the Butch we used to know. And you know what? Every day our choices take us one direction or another. My pastor often says that. You know, it says in Scripture, it's not by works of righteousness that we've done, but according to his mercy that he saved us. So we're not working our way to heaven, but our lives are a mirror and reflect whatever it is that's at work in us. And all those years that I was toiling to try to make the unthinkable thinkable, the untenable tenable, the impossible possible, has now given way to understanding that truth is all we're looking for.
And by that same time, what you're saying is absolutely correct. It means those that we have that belief should stand up and speak up and put the armor on and get into battle.
Yeah, and we have to. You know, C.S. Lewis once wrote that courage is the highest of all of the virtues, and you don't know that you have courage until you're put in a place where there's something to be afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
There is no courage without some formidable adversary there. And I love in Scripture, I was reading it in the Proverbs, I cannot remember where it is exactly, but it talked about the fact, in a nutshell, that the foolish man runs at the sound of anything, but the wise man stands in the face of the lion, or he pursues things like a lion. And so God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. And our sound mind comes not from our reasoning. Romans 8 tells us very clearly that reasoning without the Holy Spirit is death. You know, our minds have thoughts, and those thoughts only come from two places, not three. Some people think, well, I've got my thoughts, there are the devil's thoughts, and there are God's thoughts. It's two things, not three. Our thoughts are either influenced and by an impulse of the living God or by the evil one who comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And we certainly see that in American politics today, don't we, Jim?
Absolutely. We see that every day, and it's discouraging sometimes to see how it's being handled by some of our national leaders, but we need to keep faith.
Well, you know, one person that I was thinking of, the first presidential campaign that I ever worked on was Jimmy Carter's. And there's a whole discussion there, and I know the quick response a lot of people give is he was a great man and a bad president. That's probably true.
And he's in hospice care today.
Yeah, he's in hospice care today. And what I was realizing recently is that Jimmy Carter placed his hand on Micah 6:8 as he took the presidential oath of office in 1977. And for those of you that don't remember Micah 6:8, it's a powerful short verse. Here's what it says. He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? That's a good question for every politician, every congressperson, every senator, every president, every leader, every person. Micah 6:8, he's shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you, of me, Jim, Butch? But to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. He put his hand on the Bible when he said that. Now, what's also interesting is that Warren Harding also placed his hand on Micah 6:8 as he took the presidential oath of office in 1921. It's a short little missive from one of the minor prophets, but it's a major, not minor, principle. What does God require of us? He requires those three things: to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God.
And we overlook those things sometimes. We get busy with our own personal agenda and forget about those priorities that should be in our minds.
Well, and it's easy to be distracted increasingly now. And I was telling somebody at a church here recently that in the world that we're in right now, the number of distractions that we have are seemingly insurmountable. I mean, you can. I mean, for those people, and I've talked to my mother, my 90-year-old mother, about this. When you're sitting on Fox News all day, you got it in the background. I told her, I said, Mom, that's just adding and feeding all kinds of these folks. Even at Fox, they write headlines to try to do what? Lure you in.
Yes.
And then when you get lathered up, then you go on social media, and it's a major situation. And so we got to get our hearts centered on the only content that we know will never change. God's word is infallible. It is indefeatable, and it is there for us as long as we, like King David said in the Psalms, your word have I hid in my heart. Well, how do you hide something in your heart? By studying it, reading it, praying on it, pondering it, asking God to show you truth. Your word have I hid in my heart. Why? So I won't sin against you. And we live in a world where compromise is so quick and so easy, Jim, and it doesn't have to be. I mean, my grandfather used to say, make sure you don't get to a place, Butch, where it's good Lord, good devil. And a lot of people say, oh, that's okay for you. It's okay for you. It's not okay for me, but it's okay for you. No, it's not. No, truth is truth, right is right, wrong is wrong. And any time we move, as it says in the Old Testament, the ancient landmarks, Jim, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. I'm grateful that my grandfather, my pop-pop, doesn't live today, because he would be beyond heartbroken at what's happening in classrooms, what's happening in universities, what's happening in churches. Yet in the midst of all of it, God still has these flickering flames of light to show us, you know what, if you'll turn your hearts to me, I'll ignite the fire of revival, like down at Asbury. I've been to Asbury before. I've been there. I've been to some of these, Cedarville before. I've been to these places, and God will change our nation, but only at the point, Jim, all of us are willing to lay our lives down and say, you know what, it's not about me, it's about you, God.
We have many more distractions today than our fathers and grandfathers had in those days. About all they had distracted them was a plow and a mule in the garden and Saturday night Grand Ole Opry from Nashville, Tennessee. But we got more distractions with Facebook and all these other social platforms and headline news. Every minute of the day we have those distractions, and we have to force ourselves to pull away from those and concentrate on the main thing and keeping the main thing the main thing. But a long time ago, my dad he didn't know about all these distractions we're having today. He had the word. He was a minister and he studied a lot, but we always tune in Saturday night to the Grand Ole Opry on Saturday nights and listen to the music.
Yeah, I didn't do that, but I remember as a little boy, Jim. I remember you and I were talking about this the other day. I remember as a little boy having my ear against the radio. My parents had a console, and it had like this gold wire, and it had this mesh that was there with the speakers. It was a console, and it had a record player at one end. But I remember as a little boy having my ear pressed against the speaker so that I could hear Unshackled.
Oh, yes. I remember Unshackled.
The Pacific Garden Mission.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was like a drama of life change in all these people that were coming off the streets and whatever. I remember as a little boy when WYAH started in Portsmouth, a guy named Pat Robertson, and he also worked at the time with Jim Baker, but I remember peering into a tiny little television where it was all grainy. It barely came across Chesapeake Bay to where we were in Newport News from Portsmouth. And just remembering, and they would have telethons with incredible testimonies, and I was a hungry-hearted little boy. You know, and I'm not saying that was the point at which I became born again, but there was a drawing power in my life that was early, and it's still there. And God expects us to stir the fires of our appetite for Him. And we live in this world where the hymn of the living God, you know, great are you, God. Just had David Calder, who preached in our church a couple of sermons. Mm-hmm. How great is God? And when you think about it, Jim, the billions of galaxies, a universe that's still expanding, all of the beauty of the flora and fauna in our world. And, you know, when people say to me, well, that just came out of a big bang, I just want to say, are you crazy?
Apparently Matt's not going to call in this morning. He's probably getting ready for CPAC somewhere and missed the call.
It's okay. And you know what, Jim? It seems like we're like a Fox News program right now, saying we're going to have him. We're going to have him, and he's coming. You know, I do want to tell you this. I've been to CPAC before. It's a powerful time. Of course, part of what happens, especially right now, and we're going to see this in the days ahead, is you've got people that start to showcase their intentions to run for president. Mm-hmm. And we're going to hear a lot. And you know, I'll just say this real quickly, and there are scriptures to support this. A man should never answer a fool to his folly. In other words, Scripture tells us if somebody is making baiting comments, foolish comments, trying to invite a debate, an argument, what's really important for us to remember is God told us, don't go there. We don't have to respond to people. Mm-hmm. One of the greatest lessons that I've learned in my 5 years here is that not every question that I'm asked needs to be answered. It's okay to say, have a great day, and walk away. That's not rude, that's not wrong. Now listen, for the National High School Debate Champion and for the National Intercollegiate Debate Champion, for somebody to serve up an argument and for me to walk away, that's only the power of the living God that allows that to happen, Jim. I promise you. I promise you. Because I used to be filled with so many words and arguments. And, you know, when you live most of your life, look who's calling.
Hey.
Hi, Todd. When you live most of your life, Jim, trying to assess the 3 reasons for and the 3 reasons against, it's really hard for you sometimes to know what is truth. And God has given us truth. And so a lot of what's been happening in my life, especially during these political seasons, is I don't want to get caught up in parades if the parades are people jumping off a cliff, right?
That's right.
And you've been wise this way. I mean, you're.
Sometimes it is difficult not to wade into that argument, wade into those questions. They may be loaded questions. It takes some kind of insight, spiritual insight, I think, to know when to walk away and when to respond. And it's not always appropriate to respond. Oftentimes, people ask me all the time if I'm a member of Word of Faith, or why do you have Word of Faith on your radio station?
Right.
So I don't give them the pleasure of getting in an argument over that.
You know, Jim, I have not had anybody ask me if I go to Florence Baptist Church. But you know what? I know Baptists, and I love Baptists. And
you're welcome.
Okay, and I still want to visit at some point. I would love to do that. There is such a bold effort on the part of Satan to divide and conquer. You know, to create division, especially among people who claim to love Jesus. And Jim, we sing a song at my church, we're called to walk together. And, I spend time, you know this, with a number of people in the county with whom I have diametrically at points opposed insights or theology or a sense of what God is saying in his word. But, the Apostle Paul in Acts chapter 17 on the Areopagus on Mars Hill, I love that story. Because here you have Paul, he's there in Athens, he's kind of waiting and seeing, and then it says he went out into the marketplace. And I tell people he